Well, hello, my ride or die Aries. It has been a long time since I've been in your energy as a big group. My daughter's an Aries, and then I have other people that are Aries ascending around me. That's why I call you my ride or die, because you're always freaking there. You're always there. So, how is everyone? Thank you for watching me again. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Cindy. I'm at Simply Cindy. I used to do full time YouTube a while back. I quit doing it. Was going back and forth for years. So it's been about 4 years. And now this year's goal is to be back full time on YouTube. So uh, but today's video is going to be about the new moon in Aquarius. But you have, if you can see here, we're going to do a little bit of astrology and we're going to do a little bit of tarot. Okay, so I know that there are a lot of people that want to grasp astrology, want to understand it better, but it's just so many layers to it. So I'm doing series, and I'm doing a different way to kind of introduce you on a deeper level to planets and houses and stuff like that. So I'm doing a Pluto series since that's the big transit right now. I mean, we've got other transits that are prominent, but that's the big one that's generational, that's global, that's regional, that's community, and that's personal. So, and I'm saying that because this part of your chart is activated. This part of your chart, you can see you have a lot of planets here. What does that mean to those of you that don't understand? So you have a natal chart, and then you have the transiting chart. The natal chart is the easiest way I explain it is it's like the universe took a picture the moment you were born and said, here's the picture of where all the planets, the stars, the area, the regions, the area of your life in conjunction to you. And this is sort of a roadmap for you of the themes and the things and the lessons and the growth that you want to go through in this lifetime. That's up to you whether you want to do it. But here it is. Here's sort of a roadmap. That's the natal chart. Then we have the transiting chart, which is even after they took a picture, the planets and everything still moves, right? So the transit means where those planets are now. And are they talking to your natal planets, right? So we have Pluto. You have a Pluto that you're born with, and that would be in your natal chart. And this is, hold on a second. It's been a while. This is the natal planet. This is the planet Pluto. So this is the symbol for Pluto. You would look on your natal chart, go to astro.com. It's free. You plug in your birth date, birth time, birth location, and look for that and see what house it's in, right? Then what you want to do for your transit chart is look what house is Aquarius. This is Aquarius. What house does Aquarius show on your chart? Those are the two videos that you want to look at for the Pluto series that I'm doing. The natal chart would be, this is the lifetime themes. This is the lifetime lessons. This is the lifetime stuff that you're trying to get through for your Pluto in your natal chart. And then where it transits, that's what's going on and will be going on for the next 20 years, okay? And again, you're trying to heal that part of you, trying to grow into a bigger understanding of that. Okay, so because this is all activated in your Aries right here, so this would be your first house, that's your 12th, that's your 11th, that's your 10th. So your 12th, 11th, 10th are majorly activated here, right? Especially Pluto. It just hit. It was here for 15 years. It was in Capricorn for 15 years. Okay, so, and it broke down structures, right? And if this is your 12th, 11th, and 10th, it broke down structures in your public image, in your reputation, in your career, in what you do out in the world. That's what it did that's where it's been in the last 15 years for you. If you're an Aries ascending, if you're an Aries sun, it probably showed you something. If you're an Aries moon, it probably, you felt and you changed your perspective on things. And you may have not had, I'm not going to say you didn't have some structures broken down, but that's why when I'm looking at the chart, I'm looking from your ascending, because your ascending embodies all of it. Your ascending embodies the psychological, the spirit, the soul, and the body, right? So for you, this new moon in Aquarius, hang in there with me. It's all going to come together. I'm doing this for a reason. It's all connected, right? We're all connected. It's all connected. This is, with Pluto moving into Aquarius, we're starting a new phase, which is a long one, but it's a new phase, a new start, a new way of understanding and growing in this area of your life. But Pluto's been talking to the Sun. He's now right now talking to Mercury. That's Mercury. He's going to be talking to Mars, and then he's going to be talking to Venus, right? So your 12, 11, 10. So I just got to make sure I got the thing right. Because he's talking to here, you're starting new phases. You're going to be starting several new phases. We all are. We got about 4 or 5 new phases to start, new things that that are gonna be going on in our lives. Right now, and I forgot to mention this in the other videos, but right now all the planets are direct. So we have been stuck. We have been mulling over. We have been things haven't been coming through for a while because there were a lot of things that were retrograde. Now everything's direct, so it's full speed ahead. It's full steam ahead, right? But we can get a peek or some clues as to what's going to be going on for us as Pluto, because it's a major transition for us, talks to the Sun, talks to Mercury, talks to Mars, and talks to Venus, right? They're going to talk as they conjunct. This is called a conjunction when they're 10 orbs or less, or 10 degrees apart or less, okay? So right now he's talking to Mercury, and we got some clues back in March about how Pluto was going to act in Aquarius and what changes were coming for us. And now that it's here in Aquarius, we're going to the next stage of those changes. It will be happening up until September, where it retrogrades back into Capricorn one last time for all the stubborn ones, and then it'll go back to Aquarius in November. So September, November, it'll be Capricorn energy, finishing up what he's destroyed, decimated, brought fears about, your obsessions, trauma, okay? Then he's going to move into Aquarius for the next 20 years, and he's not moving out of there. He's going to be moving all the way through. But it's going to take him about 20, 21 years to do that. So for you, what does that mean? What does all that mean to you, right? So this is your first house, this is your 12th, this is your 11th, and this is your 10th. In your 10th, I can tell you, with Capricorn being in there, with Pluto being in there with Capricorn for so long, in really restructuring how you felt about your public image, how you felt about how you showed up in the world, how you actually showed up in the world, how you wanted people to see you in the world, how maybe you had to change careers because you didn't like that part and wanted to change the reputation of you. Maybe it was taken away. Maybe there was a restructuring in the way that you had your own business, or whatever this was your 10th house. And you have Mars and Venus in there. That means, for me, that means you have a gift. A lot of times for me, it's Mars, that's your ruling planet. So, and Venus wants to give you gifts as well. And this is something that you've been working on. So if you haven't already, because it's been here for a minute, if you haven't already, you should be receiving a gift of some sort. So a new position, a greater position, maybe your business that you had been working on in the last 5 years, 4 years, whatever, maybe that just became more. Maybe you got investors. Maybe you got someone that helped you take it to a bigger level. Maybe you got a new position. Maybe you got, whatever this is a gift. This also could be a person that comes in and helps. And that's the gift to you. This could turn for some of you into a romantic thing. And for some of you, I even see like you and a partner are on social media, right? You and a partner on social media, and then you turn to lovers. Like that could happen too. That's just one of the aspects. And the what I'm seeing here, and I saw this with Capricorn, is this is sort of a gift for you for getting through this Pluto in Capricorn, okay? Again, this is sort of the finishing up of what you just did, but we're going to be now moving into, because they're having the conversation about what you did. When Mars goes next to Pluto, he's going to be having a conversation about what to do next. When Venus goes there, he's going to have a conversation about what to do next. Mercury right now is having a conversation about what to do next, okay? So with Pluto and Mercury being in, you have several starts going on, several new phases that are going to be happening, and you guys have had it hard. You had to look. This is interesting because a lot of the signs had to look out within themselves. You guys had to look outside of yourself, but that's because you're naturally an Aries who is about you, right? So you had to learn to look outside of yourself, see things, and have the patience and follow through on things having to do with your reputation, having to do with the outside world, having to do how you show up in the world, right? This was different than having to like look inside. I'm not saying you didn't have to look inside as well, but it was mostly you knowing how you wanted to and figuring that out, right? Now it's going to be in your 11th house, okay? And the 11th house, that transit to me is personal because I just went through the 11th house. So with it being in Capricorn, it was about structures coming down. Pluto will bring up your fears, your obsessions, and your trauma. Okay, and go. You have to look at my Pluto video because it's a Pluto series. It's a very deep thing, and there's healing in there. And what I wanted to know is what I did was I channeled for a week and a half, and I wanted to know what exactly what trauma was coming from these houses, whether past life, present life, or future life, and then I wanted steps how to get out of it. I don't just want to know. I don't just want to empathize and sympathize and go through it with people. I want to know how to get out of this, how to heal this so that we can quit carrying the baggage. Because that's basically what Pluto is. You're carrying the baggage from lifetimes, from your DNA, your generations, and your childhood. So your 11th house is now going to be activated for the next 20 years. That is organization. And it's wonderful because it's actually in the time, in the sign that is about organizations and groups and communities and humanitarianism. That's all going to be challenged for you in the next 20 years. Am I with the group that I want? I trusted them so much, but they're showing me that I've outgrown them. Am I with the systems do I like the systems? Maybe that's outgrown me. Or maybe I've outgrown it. Maybe we just don't match anymore. Those kind of themes, you'll have to go look, but those kind of things are coming up. I'll be releasing the 11th house one probably Saturday. But getting back to this new moon, because all of these starts, this tells me this new moon in Aquarius, which is going to be very, very different in Aquarius, it's almost like, because the new moon's about us trying to manifest, trying to bring in whatever, right? So to me, that tells me that this is your shot. It's like the universe is saying, here's the energy for you to go in and direct your life. What do you want to see next? How do you want to see your life in the next couple of months? What is it that you're really wanting to focus on? Because you have all of these starts that are wanting to start. They're going to start. How do you want to direct that? Okay? And that is with your 11th house. It looks like you'll be focusing on the systems, the organizations, feeling like an outsider, maybe being disconnected from an organization, feeling like you've outgrown something. And this has already started because Pluto's at 0 degrees Aquarius, and it's a slow moving planet. So with the new moon, you need to be focusing on, because you were so focused on your career, your job, your reputation, you now need to be focusing on how are you going to do the building, the rebuilding of all of this, all of your 10th house stuff, how are you going to rebuild that with groups? Because you're not going to do it alone. You're going to do it with groups. You're going to do it with people. You're going to do it with a community. Um, and I say that because it's in your 11th house. They're all talking to each other. So I would like for you in this new moon to really focus on, if you see the dream that you want, the life that you're rebuilding, the reputation that you're rebuilding, how do you see that you can do it with people, with someone? It doesn't have to be like a whole bunch of people. It can be two. It can be one, but with someone else, with other people. What kind of groups and organizations and systems will help? Which ones do you believe in? Which ones do you need to get rid of? Right? But because this is a focus of manifestations, I want you to figure out how you want to do the rebuilding of your reputation. And in that, what types of organization systems and whatever. Like, let's just say, I'm going to give you an example. Let's just say you were one to completely believe in the government and everything they say and the right and the left party and all of that stuff, right? And throughout this whole, maybe 4 years, 3 years, whatever, you kind of come to understand and seeing the truth of, I just don't believe that anymore. I just believe there's something more. And I believe in, wanting to do my own thing and not being so reliant on the government and not trusting everything they say. Now, I'm not saying this is just a scenario, okay? I'm giving you an example. So maybe your groups change. Maybe instead of being part of the Democratic Party, you decide, okay, I just want to be an independent, and maybe I am starting to look at, homesteading. Maybe I'm starting to look at some land. But, that's such a big dream that maybe I start looking at organizations to see how this can come about. That's just an example. I'm just trying to give you guys examples of how you're sort of looking at this, okay? So in this new moon, that's what you want to do. It's Aquarian energy. So it's not normal. It's eccentric. It's out of the box. It's not like it's usually. These next 20 years are not going to be like they're usually. I explain all that in the Pluto video. But because Pluto and Mercury are talking to each other, either you just got word or you're about to get word of, maybe it was a shock of this type of group. Maybe it was a shock of this particular system. Maybe it was because something was showing itself when the sun came to Pluto. But this all has to do with, like, maybe the internet for you. Maybe it's that you work in a brick and mortar at a store and you're finally going to go online, because that's also the 11th house, right? Whatever this is, that's what you sort of need to be focusing on. If I do this, that I want to do this. I don't want to belong to this group anymore. Maybe I'm looking at this group as a better group. And how do I do that? How do I see that? And that's what you kind of want to focus on. In your 10th house, you do have this gift coming, but in your 12th house, you have Saturn here. And all of this is connected. They're all sort of have been talking to each other, just had conversations with each other, or are about to have more conversations with each other. So that's kind of why it's connected. Because this, to me, this new moon is telling me, this is the start to new phases, and you get to direct where you want it to go. Okay. Now, with Saturn being here in Pisces in your 12th house, you guys are used to being very empathic and sort of seeing things through your dreams. And that may have halted for almost a year or less. That may have gotten a little bit harder to do. And maybe you feel a little disconnected from how you usually do things, because Saturn is restriction and Pisces is so open, right? And with Saturn being restriction and Pisces so open, it's like Saturn went into Pisces and said, we need to put some form to this formlessness. Like, we can't have all this formlessness. We need to put some sort of form to it. right? And so that's what Saturn's been doing over the last year. And he's got about 2 more years to do it in there. So all Daddy Saturn does, I call him Daddy Saturn because he's prominent in my chart. But all he does is he wants to see the responsibility that you can have with these things, and then he'll give you the gifts, right? So he needs you to work for it. He wants to know that you're responsible. So it's almost like this is what I'm getting. I'm getting like maybe you guys used to get so frustrated because you were so empathic and it would bother you to go out in public, and now you can't feel hardly anything, and you're like, ugh, I'm so dead inside. I don't feel right, and like it doesn't even matter if you go out because Daddy Saturn is there. And what does that cause? It could cause you after not doing that for so long, after having that so easily accessible and then not doing it for so long, then having it cut off, you could feel like, oh, I really appreciate that I could feel what that person was telling me, or I really appreciate that I can have the dreams and it would guide me to go to the next thing. So you still have access to that. You just need to work for the access, which means that you need to put a form. And if that means, okay, I need to consciously meditate, I need to make sure that I go to sleep early, I need to not have too much to drink so that I can remember my dreams. Whatever this is, it's some sort of routine and form to access your subconscious, to access whether you felt it, whether you heard it, whether you dreamt it, whatever way it came, it's asking, Daddy Saturn's asking you to practice in it and to reconnect. Does that make sense? And again, it was for a reason. It was so that you could sort of disconnect and see the truth about where your groups were and what was going on in your career and your reputation. It was for that reason, not the whole 15 years, but in the last year, it was so that you could sort of disconnect and really, instead of feeling their feeling or instead of seeing the psychic prediction of that, you had to like go within and feel you and whether you are seeing it correctly. Are you going to follow through? Is that going to make a difference in your life? Do you want it to make a difference in your life, or you just want to poo-poo it and say, forget it, I'm not even going to look at it, right? That's what that was doing. And now I'm telling you the key to that is to put a practice in to connect to your subconscious, even if it's just your dreams, even if you only get your messages through your dreams, right? Like even if you only get whatever through your dreams, go to sleep earlier, go to sleep in a better mood, talk to yourself right before you go to sleep, drink nice tea so that you're in a good space when you go to sleep. Just he wants you to put some practice in there. Okay, does that make sense? So for this new moon, I feel like I do feel like you get a gift, but that's not from the new moon. That's from this. That's from this part right here. And that should be in your job. But as for this new moon, you need to focus on how you want to rebuild and what groups you want to kind of look at, and maybe those that you've outgrown, maybe those that, maybe those even said we'd like for you to leave. You could have been ostracized, you could have been whatever. But that's sort of what's going to be coming up for you. And in the next month, it's an open slate in your groups, in the way that you understand systems, in online, in like I can see some of you learning AI. Some of you really not thinking that you would like AI, but kind of saying, well, you know what? That kind of makes my job easier. That kind of makes this easier. I don't know why people are so afraid of it. And so you might do that. It could be that too. But whatever, and that's a group, that's an organization, that's a system. And whatever this is where you need to be like sort of focused, because it's connected here. It's what you just went through in the last 15 years, and it's rebuilding with groups and organizations and systems. Okay, does that make sense? All right, now, hope that helps. Go watch my Pluto series. I would, even if there's the videos out that isn't in a house that you have, I would look at it anyway, because it's going to help you see other people And if you have planets in those houses, it kind of helps you get through those houses too. So, let me change this. Okay. So I pulled 4 cards. This is my own spread. This is your foundation. This is where you're at. This is where you're headed. This is the energy that's coming to you. And then this is what's holding you back. This is your outcome. So I know y'all are tired. I know y'all are tired. Y'all have been overworked, underpaid, underappreciated, and then things started finally coming through. But you had to tear down those structures to rebuild that part of you. Okay, so you're tired. Things have not been going your way. Some of you have become, I wouldn't say destitute, but you've had a lot of things taken away. And you had to sort of look at life in a different, well, not sort of, you begin to look at life in a very different way, as in, okay, I've got to focus on that instead of always worrying about my feeling good. Not your feelings, but feeling good. Like whatever makes me feel good, that's what I'm going to do, right? And so you were sort of trying to figure out a way to feel good, the balance of feeling good and giving to the world and showing up. I wouldn't say giving to the world, showing up in the world. You were trying to decide how you wanted to show up in the world, right? And so right now, excuse me, pardon me, I'm sorry. Right now, you're at the 5 of Pentacles. So I know sometimes, because Aquarians have been doing this too, and I'm an Aquarius ascending, I know what I'm talking about here. The 5 of Pentacles is sort of getting into that space of poor me, everything's taken away, what do I do? I'm so sick of everything. I just don't have any more to give. I'm broke, I'm broken, I'm, all of that. And you're missing the pentacles. So it's like you're outside, on the outside looking in at those pentacles, but you're not even looking at them, but they're right there. But it's like because you're in this woe is me and you got your feelings hurt several times over the last 7 years, especially, some of you 3, it's caused you not to look at the opportunities out here. See, here's opportunity, here's your stability, here's your rebuilding, and you're over here saying, why does it always have to happen to me? Why did this whole thing happen to me? I'm so broken, my health is not good, I blah 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 blah, but yet you haven't gone to work out, you're not eating right, you're not helping the situation, basically. I'm not saying that's a fault, I'm just saying that's where you are. Because we've all lost. So I'm just trying to help you get through this, right? But I guess what I'm asking you is, you have this way of, because Aries are my best friends. Like, they used to be my best friends. They're my ride or dies. You have this way of being uplifting to yourself and others. You have this way of seeing opportunity when others don't. You have this way of taking action before even thinking about it and being fearful. And it's like you kind of lost that a little. You haven't lost it, but you sort of buried that because you've been doing this lately. Does that make sense? And where you're headed is the 9 of Wands. And the 9 of Wands, it's like all of these experiences, all of this wisdom, you should be proud. You should stand before it. And you should happily, with the 1 wand, that's an opportunity. Hold on to it and look to see where you want to go next. The 9 of Wands is a resting place, where you've been through so much, but you're still open for the new opportunities to come in. And you have your wisdom, your staff, your wands to help you go in any direction that comes your way, right? And right now in this new moon, dictate what direction you want that to be. Like, don't forget, you're full of magic. You're full of magic. I have seen Aries manifest from thin air. Thin air. They could have nothing and all of a sudden they have a whole bunch. You know, just by one choice they made, or just by one action they took, or just by even thinking about it and then heading out the door to take the action, and all of a sudden it's there. I've seen that. So be the fiery, um, almost childlike innocence, not afraid, fearless to do it. Go back out there and do it because you can. It's on its way. That's the energy of that. The next opportunity is coming with, but this time it's not going to be frivolous. You're not going to throw it away. You're not going to laugh at it. You're not going to think it's nothing. You're going to have some wisdom this time and you're going to build something solid. That's where you're at. That's what's coming for you. What's holding you back is the Four of Pentacles. So what's holding you back is the thought of the, how do I say that? I'm going to put it back to your 11th house, the groups. It's almost like you know what it takes to become stable, but you don't want to conform anymore. But you know what it takes. From your point of view, what you've always known, you know what it takes to become stable and abundant. But in your head, you're thinking, I don't want to conform anymore. I don't want to do that. I want to do it differently. There's got to be another way, right? And I'm here to say there is another way. You're supposed to create it or get to the groups that do have it already. That's kind of up to you, whichever way you want to do it. And when you do get to the other groups that are actually resonating with your belief systems, with the moralities that you have, with the work ethic that you have, there is some stability there. But you're thinking of it as there's only that I see, those organizations, those systems. You forget there are others. You just haven't seen them because they're not in your realm. But that now is your time to be looking for them because there is some stability there. Take this card and transmute the energy, transmute it. Instead of thinking the stability and the abundance is going to hold me back, it won't. You just find the other group. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. And your outcome is the 10 of Wands. It's not going to be easy. It's not, because it's not your belief system. That's the 9th house. It's your whole understanding, because you've outgrown into a different perception. But that means that you have to leave some of these systems and some of these groups. You have to leave that. I want to tell you a story about how I'm doing that, but I can't do that here on YouTube. I'm going to be doing it. I'll do it on my Discord. But you have to, there are some things that you know that you should do to be able to free you up, because they're holding you back. They're weighing you. They're not holding you back. They're weighing you down. And you just know within you, because that's the 11th house being activated, that there's an easier way. There's a less hectic way. And Pluto brings up your fears. So he is going to be challenging you for the next 20 years, your fears. Now, the good thing is you're in Aries and you're fearless. So just be fearless. Look at the fear. I have Pluto prominent in my chart. So I've been dealing with Pluto all my life. And if you think about it, even before I was doing this, like, I've always done mediumship, but even before that, I've always been dealing with people on the other side, dealing with the dead, dealing with other dimensions, dealing with, like, that's what I do. I'm the translator. I'm a medium, right? And that's Pluto. Pluto, death and transformation. He brings up your fears. He brings up your traumas. He brings that up. That's what, if you let it, I learned through Pluto, what I've learned through Pluto over my lifetime is whenever I see Pluto, I'm like, if I'm afraid, that's where I'm going. And it's fear. It'll bring up the fear you have. So whatever fear I have, if I'm stuck on making a choice, I'm like, what am I afraid of most? That's the direction I go in. So I go for the fear because I already know that's what Pluto is, and I can transform that. But it's going to bring up my fear. That's what I'm seeing here. Because you're fearless, you're an Aries, you're fearless. So go towards the fear and do what makes you afraid, because that's what's going to help transform this. Because it's going to feel like it's too much. It's going to feel this is where you're headed. You can change this, but this is the outcome. The outcome is you continue to look at this, poor me, and this energy takes longer to come through, and then you're seeing this in the way that I said that you were seeing it, instead of seeing it as a beneficial thing, that there are other ways of stability, there are other ways of abundance, there are other ways of building. You're seeing the fact that it's a system and it's an organization that you don't trust and have outgrown. You're going to think it's a hindrance, and it's not. You just look for the other thing, right? Or you become the other thing. You're a leader. You become the other thing. Become the other group. There's plenty of groups that aren't formed yet that need to be formed. Or revamping one that you kind of have some agreements with, but think it's outdated and needs, because remember, it's Aquarian. If it's outdated, it needs to be changed. Okay? So this doesn't have to be so hard, but your outcome for right now, unless you change this, is that it's heavy. It's not that you won't do it. You will do it. I mean, you're an Aries. You're going to do it. But it's going to, it can, and this is up to you, it can feel like it's overwhelming and it's a lot. Or you can change the perspective and be fearless and do it. And this will change. Okay? I hope I helped. Thank you so much for listening and letting me in your energy. I appreciate you guys. It's nice to be back. And because I haven't been around, if you could help me like, share, subscribe, do all that stuff to help me with the algorithm, that would be great. So I love you, love you, love you. Bye.